If you love Paul Harvey stories and the rest of the story, subscribe now. They were schoolboys together, Guanarati and Torrigiano. Now it may not be fair to call them troublemakers, although minus these two students, their class would have been ultimately sedate. Guanarati was a talented young fellow. Unfortunately for everyone else, he knew it. Fastidious in his own work, he was inclined to be hypercritical of those who did not meet his standards. Guanarati's friends, even those he criticized, were quick to defend him. The boy meant no harm, they said. He merely wanted to help. Least understanding of Guanarati's helpfulness was Torrigiano. The latter was a quick-tempered young man, an incurable brawler. He, too, was a talented student, though the extraordinary assertiveness which helped him academically hindered him socially. So Guanarati and Torrigiano were as flint and steel, two ostensibly inert entities producing sparks at their collision. Inevitably, you say, they would fight one day? Well, you're right. Few boyhood battles in all history have so affected the lives of those involved. You see, as a young student, Guanarati was inclined to criticize his classmates. Most of them ignored him. Some even thanked him, for much of his advice was constructive. But for Torrigiano, the scrapper, there was no such thing as constructive advice. All he wished was to be left alone, a state of solitude which Guanarati was not disposed to allow. And one day, fastidious Guanarati noticed a discrepancy in Torrigiano's work. He mentioned it once. Torrigiano pretended not to hear. Guanarati pursued the point. It was clear to the other class members what was happening. Guanarati was asking for it, and if he didn't close his mouth soon, he was gonna get it. Meanwhile, Torrigiano was seething quietly. One more word from Guanarati, just one, and he'd better run. And Guanarati uttered the fatal word. It was barely out of his lips as Torrigiano's clenched fist came flying toward him. Guanarati, too surprised to duck, felt the blow land squarely on his nose. The next thing he knew, he was flat on his back, his head bobbing in a sea of stars. Such was the force of Torrigiano's punch that the cartilage in Guanarati's nose was all but disintegrated. On this note, and since the beginning of time, similar stories of schoolboy squabbles have ended. In its ramifications, this particular story was only the beginning. Meticulous, fastidious Guanarati was scarred for life. Scarred for life. Already sensitive about his appearance, his nose was now squashed, and squashed so flat that it barely protruded beyond his head. In profile, a serious inferiority complex developed, accompanied by sporadic melancholy, and that, of course, was the cruelest scar of all. Guanarati's life became a quest for beauty, for the physical refinement that he could never personally possess, and therein, say some scholars, lay his torment. That which might have been Torrigiano's success was denied him because of what he had done to Guanarati. The assault immediately led to his expulsion from school. Forever after, Torrigiano was thwarted in his endeavors by those who loved Guanarati, and when the assault occurred, both the assailant and the victim were studying art. In the years that followed, as a result of that solitary blow he had struck, Torrigiano fell into universal disfavor and failed as an artist. By contrast, Guanarati, permanently disfigured, self-consciously sought beauty, and as he recreated for the world that which would never be his own, he became known by his first name, Michelangelo.